Okay, insyaAllah, Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We will have our second session today, insyaAllah. In the last class, in the previous class, on Tuesday, we already have the briefing about the course as well as about how we conduct the session, insyaAllah, in this section. And today I'll just go about some of the follow-up of the uh, responses, because we have some some surveys that I have put on. Oops, what happened here? All right. So on Tuesday we have gone through the introduction and the briefing, and among the things, number one, we have talked about how um, this course will be handled as a flipped classroom, inshallah. That's number one. By the way, anyone that joined for the first time today that was not here in the Tuesday session, anyone was not here in the first class
It's
on
me,
Tuesday?
sir.
Okay, one. Anyone else? Only one. All right. Um, okay. Number two, I think hopefully all of you are on in iTalim in the section, right? Or anyone is not in the iTalim or cannot find the section in iTalim. I think you are, and hopefully also you are also in the Google Classroom already. So if anyone is not yet on Google Classroom, please do say so. Now, so for only one brother that was not here on Tuesday, but the what have been mentioned there is on the recording, which can be found, I think, on the on the Google Classroom. I think I have put the link to the playlist for all the recording for this session, the class sessions throughout this semester, inshallah. So you can find the recording there. But among the things we have discussed about flipped classroom approach that we will be using. That's number one. Number two, about the mark distribution, about how we will perform the quiz for this section, and you have responded your preference. So we will have the first quiz today, right? That's the one of the thing. And anyone face any problem with quiz number zero that has been given? Meaning that because in the first quiz today, you will have to submit the quiz just like what you submit for quiz number zero. So you have to take the picture of your answer and upload and submit the Google form. Anyone face any problem with that? So silence mean I assume no problem. So yeah, so uh, the quiz today will be at 9 a.m. And it will be for 20 minutes plus 5 minutes of processing and submission, meaning that the 5 minutes is to consider for you to take the picture, upload, and send the Google form. Right, so at 9:25, right? 20 minutes plus 5 minutes, so 9:25. Any submission that reach the system after 9:25 is going to be considered late. All right, so that's the for the quiz for today, and it will cover the portion that is covered for today. Mainly, okay, the quiz will be on 2D problem. for vector and scalar, right? And the resultant force. All right, so that's among the decision. Now I'll go through some of the response of the survey and just comment a little bit so that we are aware of where we are heading. Now, one of the survey is when I ask, sorry, maybe this one, right? About the grouping, whether you wish to have to be in group or not during the class time. So most of you say yes, some of you say no. So for those who say yes, over the weekend, because I didn't have the time before this class, so over the weekend I will see those who responded as such, and we'll try to group and we'll announce it over the weekend, inshallah. And for those who say they want to be grouped, most are saying they are taking for the first time. Some are repeating, and within that repeat, most say they just want to follow the rest. And I think there's four that have a specific, basically preference. So I think these four will be in one group. I will see who you are, so that we can focus on which you need, I guess. All right. So that's number one about the grouping. Second, there's a survey where I asked for those who have taken this course previously and what you wish for me to know. Okay. There's several things that's mentioned. One is, okay, what is this? After the midterm topics, which method? I said, okay. So hopefully this one we can cater in the starting next week in the tutorial session or the class session where you will do in your groups. Um, we'll try to focus, and you can basically verbally specify which chapter exactly and which concept which is not yet clear to you. This one as well, because I'm not sure this is with regard to which chapter, so it's hard to help. But again, I think in the group next week, inshallah, we can talk about this in more detail. Other than that, solve a lot of exercises similar to final exam. Now, actually, all the question that I cover in the recording of the tutorial is from past exam question. It's just that starting when when the pandemic hits, everything becomes online and the exam becomes online. So suddenly, the exam changes into open book format. When the exam become open book format, and I'm not sure what will happen this semester, but I think most probably it will be similar. So when it is an open book format, so the question have to become something that, meaning from the lecturer's perspective, normally they will make a question that you cannot find in any books, right? So that's where, if you, if how to say, if your ability to answer problem is based on familiarity, meaning that if you are familiar, you can solve. If you are not familiar, you cannot. Then you will struggle, right? So the question is exactly the same as what we cover in the class from the concept perspective. If you understand the concept, you will see that it's basically the same or similar. But if you don't really understand the concept, but you just, meaning, because I think some student in school or in foundation, they can score because of macam latih to be, right? Meaning that you become familiar with the question and it helps you. But in university, um, it should test you not on familiarity but on understanding. So that's where I think, um, to find when we say the question is similar to the exam, the concept will be the same. It cannot run away from whatever we have covered, right? But the diagram, the picture will be totally different. It can be totally different. Hence, if you do not understand the fundamentals and how to decipher any problem that you are given, and suddenly you see where I have never seen this picture before, and you do not know what to do, then you will have a problem lah. So we'll try to help on that, inshallah. So yeah. How to imagine and draw the subject like the question asks. Okay. So similar case, right? So this will be non-usual pattern of question. Okay. So one way to do this is if you can try to find different type of question, and hopefully you can understand how to see behind you know what is given, right? What's the fundamentals there, and how to apply what you have already known. Okay, so hopefully, okay, for those who, because this one I'm hoping, how to say, okay, for those who that responded here, based on those who are repeating that they have that special request, they will have their own group, inshallah. And hopefully you can illustrate what exactly, where you have problem, and we'll try to tailor on that one. But for the rest of you, I hope you try as many questions as possible that you can find from the textbook and elsewhere, if you have any access. And if you have any problem, do not hesitate to ask during the session of the tutorial, right? So we can help. Okay, and lastly about the midterm, I think verbally I did ask, right, during the class, but because initially it was on Tuesday night, but someone did mention that they have something, I think, if I can recall correctly. So, and then we said to shift on Monday. So based on the response, there's some for that says on Monday, but I don't recall that anyone mentioned anything in the previous class. Soon I think I will make another survey afterwards to see who is this and what exactly is the cause there, so that if we need to make any, I don't know, excuse letter or anything, so that you can attend the midterm on that day. All right. So that's the update for based on the responses. Now, I have given on Google Classroom the link for the attendance, so please take attendance there, sign your attendance there, as well as as well as I mentioned this code here on that Google Classroom post. So after the class, perhaps after the quiz, just give feedback for what you will have experienced today. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier about the grouping, I will only manage to find time to go over the grouping over the weekend. So inshallah, it will start next week on that format. So today, basically, individually, you can go over the tutorial question, tutorial video if you need, and as well as try any question within the topic, and you can ask throughout the session, inshallah, anything that you need to ask. Right, so that's the update that I have for this morning. So the rest of the time until at 9, because at 9 we will have the first quiz. So from now until 9, around 45 minutes from now, inshallah. So you are free to use the time in whichever way you wish, meaning that to cover any question, etc. And I'll be here whenever you need to ask any question, right? So it is not meaning that whether you want to stay in this group or not, it's up to you. Because if someone asks question, etc., so it depends if you want to be here and you want to listen to the discussion, if anyone asks question, or you prefer not to be disturbed by some voices, so you can go out, not a problem. And whenever you have a question, you can come back at any time, also not a problem, right? So that will be the mode for this morning. So until 9, and then at 9 I'll post the quiz on Google Classroom. So the question will be there. The Google form to submit will also be there, like for quiz number 0. And then after that quiz ended, until 10, meaning the remaining half an hour, up to you. If you have any problem with the quiz that you need some explanation, you can ask, or any further question that you have, you can still ask um, until the end of the session, right? So any question? So that's basically how we will go about this session for today, inshallah. So any question before I'll just let you go for your preparation for the quiz and covering the trying the problems, etc.
So I have a question.
Yes.
How do we share a question that we want to ask you about?
How do meaning you want to show, for example?
Yes, the question.
You can just present here if you have.
Oh, okay, okay.
You know how to present, is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you can just show. Of course, if you are as anyone who asks about, for example, the tutorial question, etc., I can open the question. But if you have any other question from anywhere in the textbook or elsewhere, you can just show the image, the diagram, or whatever, so that I can see and I can comment. Yep.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other question? If no, I'll let you to go to basically for your preparation, inshallah. So I'll be here on standby, and any question, feel free to ask whatever question that you have. All right. So just make sure reaching 9 a.m. Please check and refresh your Google Classroom, inshallah, for the quiz. Allah alam. Okay. So as I said, proceed, and any question, I'll be here, inshallah. Yes, brother, you have a question?
Yes, sir, I have a question. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
okay. One moment, sir. Entire screen. It is this question, sir.
All right.
To 57. I'm stuck on uh, basically how to start this question. I don't know what is the meaning of find what is the magnitude of the smallest resulting force.
Okay. In this question, it says determine the magnitude of force F, so that the resultant force of the three forces is as small as possible. Right. So okay, this kind of question, it tests you on the basic of calculation, and you should know how to calculate the x component and y component, right?
Okay.
As well as what makes because the value is not known, so it can be from, I don't know, from 0 up till something, right? Up
Okay.
till infinity, right? But what is the value that will give you the smallest resultant force? Obviously, if it goes bigger and bigger and bigger, the resultant force tend to be bigger, right? But okay, if okay, just imagine, right? If that F is 0,
Okay.
can you imagine where the resultant force would be, meaning the x component and y component?
It would be positive x and positive y.
The resultant.
Sorry. The resultant force would be somewhere in positive y and negative x. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, it depends on what is 14 cos 30, right?
Yes, sir.
But basically it is like 12 or something, so it will be bigger to the left, right?
Yes.
All right. So if f increases, if f now becomes 2, for example,
Okay.
it will increase the x component to the left, right?
Yes, sir.
But it will decrease the y component, right?
Yes, because it is going down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the effect of that may be that it is meaning the resultant may go down until a point where f is further increased. Then I think the how to say the uh, basically the resultant will go down a bit before it goes up back again in terms of its magnitude. Magnitude doesn't care about the direction. Uh, how to say it is it is square root of the x square and y square, right?
Yes, the resultant force.
Okay. So here there's several there might be two. Okay. This kind of question. Let me see the
It's a
where
bit tricky to do this because it's really that's on the really basic fundamentals, and I'm a bit lost
yeah.
here.
Okay. In terms of the idea, first of all, in terms of idea, what happened when the value varies, you understand, right?
Yes, sir, I
Just
do.
now. Okay, but how to translate that into how to actually calculate that, right? So
Yes, sir.
there's two how to say question like this. There's two possible way of doing it. One is you have to define the function itself. So this is where gets more into mathematics. Meaning the
Okay.
function, for example, if you have meaning the function of the magnitude, like you say magnitude is equal to square root of basically the summation of x square plus the summation of y square, right?
Okay.
And then x is basically negative 14 cos 30,
Mhm.
negative f cos 45, right?
Yes. Yep.
And plus 8.
8 plus 8. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the y is basically 14 sine 30 minus f cos 45. So basically, if you input that, because as unknown, right? F is still unknown, meaning that you have the number plus f cos 45 or f sine 45 equal to like fr, for example, right? The square root equal to fr, the magnitude of the resultant force. Then you have some sort of a equation where if you, I'm not sure whether you have learned this in mathematics, because it depends on whether you have learned in mathematics, right? If you have a differentiation of something like what to when the slope becomes zero, something like that.
Uh,
So
I'm not sure if I remember how to do this differentiation, sir. I'm sorry.
yeah, so that's where I'm just illustrating that that's one way in terms of it will involve a lot of mathematics, and normally we will not test something unless it is confirmed that you all of you have settled that mathematical part.
Okay.
So for the quiz, you will, and even for the exam, we normally do not test the student that require you to go to that depth of mathematics. Okay, that's one possibility of solution that may have to do for this kind of question. But there's the second possibility where the question is quite obvious in the sense that, for example, okay, for example, if the question say, what will be the magnitude of f to give the minimum okay, in other words, okay, what is the what is the value of f to make the magnitude only in x axis, for example?
Oh, so split the resultant force for the x component, and then we add them together, and then we get something like two equations. probably to make um, so we have the x component of the summation of x components for all of the forces and the summation of y components for all of the forces, and then we can do something with it.
Okay, but what is the circumstances for the
It's
resultant to have only x component?
it's a bit hard to show what I
But
did on my
ideally,
book.
in the concept, because if the resultant have only x component, meaning that the y component have to be zero, right?
Yes, yes. In terms of F1, sorry, the 8 kilonewton, it's zero, right? The y component.
No, no. I mean, if the question say
Yeah.
what is the value of f, so that the resultant will be on x-axis.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
So the resultant will, meaning the resultant will have something in x component but zero in y. That's the meaning.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You understand? So in that case, the calculation is not that difficult because you just have to calculate what is the y component, meaning that 14 sine 30 minus f sine 45 equal to 0. And then you will get that f, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So if that kind of question, it is very much probably, it is possible for you to be tested either in the quiz or in the final, because the
Okay.
understanding is the same as this one, meaning that, okay, that is the situation. Just that the mathematical way to solve it is also straightforward. But if it require you to have some like differentiation or something that for
Yes.
you to find the minimum, for example, normally we will not test up to that level.
Okay, sir.
That yeah. So yeah. So in
Uh,
this case, it says the result, because this one you have to consider the possibility of any angle, right? So that's why you have two unknown in the end, meaning that you do not know the resultant, you do not know where the direction is, but you just want the minimum resultant.
mm,
So the mathematical part can be quite tricky for many students.
I think I can answer this now. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, all right.
Sir,
Yes.
I have a question. Do we still have the quiz at the same time by next week on Tuesday or Tuesday?
Why? Do you have anything?
Because on Tuesday at after 9 I have the Tilawah placement test only for next week.
Only for next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tuesday.
Mm, so in that case, if we have the quiz on Tuesday, the quiz have to be earlier then. In that case, if we have to consider that one. So you only have that on
On Tuesday 9 a.m.
only for next week or
Only
for?
for next week. Only for next week.
Mm, okay, so I'll yeah, in the end, because not everyone is here, so I'll ask on the Telegram afterwards. So if to consider that, we need to make, meaning if you have a quiz, then we'll have to have it like earlier then, for example 8:30 then, for example. Yep.
All right, sir. Thank you.
If do we have anything after the quiz, or we need, oh, all right. So if anyone have any question or anything to consult, you are feel free to do so. But if you do not have anything left and is okay and finish with the topic that we are covering today, you are free to leave. No problem. So I'm just here for anyone that needs to consult or to continue to work. But everyone is free to leave when they are finished.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Yes.
I have a question regarding the tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
So I have gone through the tutorial for 3D, and then I'm curious about the last question about the alpha, gamma, and beta. Why do we calculate it directly by using the angle of 135, 60 instead of us doing the triangle method, which is we need to determine where is the first triangle and then the second triangle? Why do we directly count it uh, the 135 angle straight away?
Okay, let me take a look at the question first. This is the 3D one, is it?
Yeah, the final question.
See any question from the past
Final
exam?
question is question 3, is it?
Yeah, question 3.
Okay. For which force?
Force number 2
Force
for the
number
500 Newton.
2. Okay. So your question is, why do we...
Why do we calculate directly by using the angle given? Why do we use the triangle method as per force number 1?
But is there any triangle there?
No, there is no triangle.
Yeah, that's why basically. Because we deal with each forces based on the information that is given. But and for F number 1, we have the projected angles, right? In terms of the triangles. So that's what we have. So we have to be able to use the information given to determine the component. While for F2, we are given basically alpha, beta, and gamma, the 60, 60, and 135. So yeah, that's the only information given. Hence, that's if I'm not sure because I don't think I don't because in some question maybe information given can lead towards two different way to calculate. But in this case, because the only information that we have is alpha, beta, and gamma, hence you have to use that one. Otherwise, if you want to use the triangle, what can you do? Is it possible? I don't think it is possible.
It's not logic because the way I look at it, the XY is like 90-degree, and then I find it weird because 60 and 60 is 120. So I do I don't know if the way I look at it may be wrong.
Oh, did you imagine that this is on XY plane, the force?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no,
made it
no.
like that.
No, it's yeah, that's the thing with 3D drawing because it is in a 3D space. The only how to say, we have to imagine based on the information given. So when that is 135, so obviously it is not on the, because if it's in XY plane, that the degree with the angle with Z axis must be 90, right?
Yeah,
So when it's 135, obviously this is pointing downwards. So we have to deal with the because yeah, I understand, because if the force is in XY plane, the force may be drawn like just like that, right? Because
yeah,
so the perspective from our eyes, it seems the same, but you have to use the angles to determine, okay, this is not there but it's actually going downwards.
mhm.
So
Yeah. Similarly with other things, for example, the 400 Newton, if you do not draw the two triangle, if the blue triangle is not there, you might think it is in XZ plane because, right? But that triangle make it clear that it is not on XZ plane. It is something behind there. So we have to decipher, meaning we have to interpret all the forces based on the information given, not just by our eyes. Is it clear?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I think I understand that now. So we only use the information given and then just do like simple trigonometry.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir,
Yes.
untuk grouping tu, boleh ke kalau kami pilih group sendiri?
Meaning you have a group of people that that wish to be in a group, macam tu?
Yes.
Okay. So kalau macam tu I'll give a survey first lah kot untuk siapa yang memang dah ada want to be in the same group and yang lainnya tak ada, so that boleh, no problem.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Alright.